Greetings from Highlights from the Hill.
Welcome to our Highlights from the Hill. We have a dynamic lesson for this Sunday, March the 1st, coming from Mark chapter 12, verse 28 through 34, and James chapter 2, verse 14 through 17. Our key verse is Mark chapter 12 and verse number 33. To love him with all the heart and with all the understanding and with all the soul and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself is more than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifices. Listen, church, we're looking forward to seeing you this Sunday during our Sunday school hour, but I will come to remind you that Sunday school is not just about information, it's about transformation. And Jesus teaches us what matters most in this lesson, and James also shows us what it looks like in real life. This title, Love Acts, does not say not love talks, not love feels, but love acts. And if we ever want to see a revival in our community and our churches, it is not just coming to know Scripture, but it will come from living Scripture. And when we look in our biblical context of Mark chapter 12, we see Jesus is in Jerusalem during his final week before the crucifixion. Religious leaders are questioning him and trying to trap him. And there's a scribe that asks a question: what is the greatest commandment? And it is at this time that Jewish teachers who had identified 613 laws in the Torah, religion had become so complex and burdensome that Jesus simplifies it. And when he simplifies it, he says it this way: love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And secondly, love your neighbor as yourself. He says these two are greater than all sacrifices. And when Jesus makes this statement, it is a radical statement. He says that love outweighs rituals. But when we look in the context of James chapter 2, was written to scattered believers facing trials and poverty, James confronts a dangerous issue: people claiming faith but showing no evidence of it. He asks this question: if someone says they have faith but does not have works, can that faith save them? Jesus gives them a real life, or James gives them a real life example. If someone is hungry and you say, be warned and filled, but give them nothing, what good is that? James says faith without works is dead. So now let us look at the biblical analysis of Mark chapter 12, verse 28 through 34. The outline is titled, Jesus Breaks Down the Commandments. And we find that Jesus quotes Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 through 5 in the Shema. Love him with all your heart, understanding, soul, and strength. This is total devotion, heart affection, mind understanding, soul identity, strength effort. Then he adds, love your neighbor as yourself. This is showing vertical love to God and horizontal love to people. And Jesus is saying this love is greater than burnt offerings and sacrifices. He was correcting religious performance without relational devotion. So look at this first lesson aim, number one: contrast knowing versus practicing. It's one thing to know something, but it's another thing to know and practice what you know. And in Mark, the scribe knew the commandments intellectually. In James, believers were challenged to practice it practically. Knowing is not enough. Quoting scriptures is not enough. Posting scripture is not enough. Love must move. Watch the what do you think? Are believers today at risk of missing the kingdom by overcomplicating God's law? Yes. This happens when we replace relationship with routine, when we elevate tradition over transformation, when we argue theology but ignore people in need, when we serve in church but don't love at home. We can know doctrine and still lack devotion. We can defend truth and still lack tenderness. Jesus told the scribe, "You are not far from the kingdom." Really, reality is, we got to make sure that we are fully surrendered. But Sunday school helps us move from the place of not far to be fully formed. Watch the second outline, the practicality of truth, coming from James chapter 2 and verse number 14 through 17. James asks, what does it profit? Faith that does nothing benefits no one. And if love does not feed, if it does not clothe, if it does not comfort, if it does not serve, it is incomplete. James is not arguing against salvation by grace. What we find is he is arguing against empty confession. So real faith, it does something. It produces real fruit. And if I say I love God but ignore my brother, something is wrong. If I shout on Sunday but won't serve on Monday, something is wrong. Because faith works and love moves. Watch our lesson aim number 2. Identify sincere love in attitudes and motivation. And everyone has to ask themselves, do I serve to be seen or because I care? Or do I give because I love God or because I want recognition? Or do I forgive because Christ forgave me? And here it is, church. Sincere love flows from gratitude and not guilt. Watch lesson aim number 3. Address community needs with goods and services. James says, don't just speak blessings, be the blessing. And this is what love looks like. Feeding the hungry, tutoring children, supporting struggling families, mentoring young men, encouraging single mothers, helping seniors. Basically, all of this is saying love is visible. So what do you think? What ministries of compassion can your church support? Food pantries, back-to-school supply drives, job readiness workshop, prison outreach, nursing home ministries, youth mentorship programs, community prayer walks. Because this shows faith in action restores credibility of the church. The world is not questioning our theology. The world is always questioning our love. And so I encourage you to come and be a part of our Sunday school, because it is in Sunday school where we learn what Jesus meant. It is in Sunday school where we examine our own hearts. It is in Sunday school where we challenge one another. It is in Sunday school where we grow beyond surface Christianity, because I hear many saying, it's just another class, and I've been to school all week, but I just want to share with you that Sunday school is not just another class. It is a discipleship laboratory, because if you want stronger marriages, you ought to come to Sunday school. If you want stronger youth, you ought to come to Sunday school. If you want stronger leadership, you ought to come to Sunday school. If you want stronger outreach programs, you ought to come to Sunday school, because it starts with learning and living the word together. So when love acts, family changes, churches grow, communities shift. And Jesus said loving God and loving people is greater than sacrifice. So James said love must show up in action. So the question is, will our love move? And let us not just attend church, but let us be the church. And Sunday school here at the Liberty Hill Missionary Baptist Church at 1215 South Schiller, Little Rock, Arkansas, 72202 is where it starts. Look forward to seeing you this Sunday. God bless you.